Well, alright everybody, so we are back with TEW 9, the War of Immortals save with the WWF Classics. We are here to book our WWF Superstars on the road to WrestleMania. We are 16 days away from WrestleMania, so let's run down last week's card where we had, in a pre-show match, we had Sid Vicious defeat George the Animal Steel. Arn Anderson won a Battle Royal. We had Jim Ross and Jesse Ventura run down the card for the night. We had Demolition defeat the Fabulous Rougeaus by DQ, which was a match for the WWFC World Tag Titles. We had Hulk Hogan talk about his win at Saturday Night's main event, where he was then attacked by Paul Orndorff. We had Rugged Ronnie Garvin defeat Bob Orton Jr. LOD and Jim Duggan have challenged the New Horsemen to another six-man tag team match. Then we had the Road Warriors defeat Money Inc. Jake the Snake Roberts talking about his upcoming World Championship match with the Macho King Randy Savage at WrestleMania. Lex Luger and Roddy Piper defeated Rick Rude and Harley Race. And we had Mr. Perfect accept the challenge from anybody for his Intercontinental Championship, which was then taken up by Lex Luger. We had the Macho King Randy Savage defeat Jimmy Superfly Snuka, Jim Cornette talking about, and the Midnight Express talking about, they're done sitting back and they are going to be taking over the WWFC tag team division. Then we had Hulk and Andre defeat Big John Studd and Paul Orndorff, where we found out that Hogan and Andre have absolutely no chemistry as a tag team. So I will be back when I am finished booking the show. Have our show booked. Let's hop right into it, starting off with a 10-man tag team match in our pre-show. In a pre-show bout that had decent wrestling, but didn't have much heat, Big Boss Man, the Islanders, and the Nasty Boys defeated George the Animal Steel, the Killer Bees, the Natural Disasters, in 9:41 when the Big Boss Man pinned Jim Brunzell with his Sidewalk Slam. The crowd at the end was expectant and simmering. The wrestling rating was a 55, the crowd rating was a 47, and the segment got a 64. So the Big Boss Man had a 68, Jerry Saggs had a 52, Brian Knobbs had a 54, Tama had a 39, Haku had a 72, George the Animal Steel had a 62, Typhoon had a 61, Earthquake had a 53, Jim Brunzell had a 45, and Brian Blair had a 40. Big Boss Man was off his game. The commentary lifted the quality. The color commentary gave it a boost. Bobby Heenan did good work at ringside. Jimmy Hart did good work at ringside, and Slick did good work at ringside. So let's head into our first promo of the night, which got an 82. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, WWFC Superstars. I'm Vince McMahon, and joining me here is none other than the Body, Jesse the Body Ventura. And Jesse, have we got an unbelievable night of WWFC action for the WWFC universe? You better believe it, McMahon. I'm talking heavy hitters, big grudges, and alliances that are hanging on by a thread. If there's one night you don't want to miss, it's tonight. Kicking things off, we got a colossal main event when the Hulkster Hollywood Hogan teams up with Jake the Snake Roberts to take on the Macho King himself, Randy Savage, and Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. These four men have been bringing every ounce of firepower tonight. Oh, that's right, McMahon. You've got Hogan and Roberts, two of the toughest, most resilient guys in the business, against two masterminds, Savage and Orndorff. They're not just here to win, they're here to settle scores. And if that wasn't enough, the legendary Legion of Doom, the Road Warriors, will take on the dangerous duo of the Midnight Express, managed by the always unpredictable Jim Cornette. Cornette's been calling out every tag team, and tonight the Road Warriors have answered. You better get ready, Cornette, because when the Road Warriors hit the ring, it's going to be full-on demolition. But let's not sell the Midnight Express short. These guys have the talent and they're hungry for a fight. Plus, we got a promo from none other than the New Horsemen. You know, they've been keeping quiet about things that have been going down in the WWFC. Oh, I can't wait to hear what those horsemen have to say. they've been making it clear they're not here to take part, they're here to take over. In addition, we have a great six-man tag team match. We have the WWFC World Television Champion, the Honky Tonk Man, the Intercontinental Champion, Mr. Perfect, and the monstrous Bam Bam Bigelow joining forces to face Lex Luger and Demolition. Can the power of Luger and Demolition hold up against the craftiness of Perfect, the arrogance of the Honky Tonk Man, and the brute force of Bam Bam Bigelow? That's a three-man team with more attitude than anyone in the locker room, McMahon. If Luger and Demolition can't bring the heat, they're in for a long night. And we'll hear from Andre the Giant himself, and he's got a message that everybody's got to hear. When Andre talks, the world listens, McMahon. You know it's going to be big. And finally, Andre the Giant and Rugged Ronnie Garvin are teaming up to face the natural Butch Reed and Big John Studd. Can the powerhouse combination of Andre and Garvin withstand the raw strength of Reed and Studd? Reed and Studd aren't pushovers, Vince. Andre and Garvin better be ready for a fight if they want to come out on top. This is truly a stacked card, folks, so don't go anywhere because WWFC Superstars starts right now. So, I figured I'd change it up. I threw Vince McMahon back on commentary. So in a good 6-minute interview, we saw Jesse Ventura and Vince McMahon cut promos. The crowd heat at the end is hot and rising. The segment got an 82. It advanced all our storylines. Jesse Ventura was superb without a script and had the crowd eating out of the palm of his hand. The angle got the crowd hotter, and it was a great way to start the show off. So let's head into the 6-man tag team match first. In a decent match, the Honky Tonk Man, Mr. Perfect, and Bam Bam Bigelow defeated Lex Luger and Demolition in 1502 when Bam Bam pinned Demolition Smash with the greeting from Asbury Park. The crowd at the end is white hot. The wrestling rating got a 68. The crowd rating got a 69. The segment was a 79. Bam Bam had an in-ring performance of 72. Mr. Perfect had a 78. The Honky Tonk Man had the worst with a 56. Demolition Smash had a 58. Demolition Axe had a 72. Lex Luger had a 73. Sir Oliver Humperdinck debuted his old school manager gimmick, who is now the manager of Bam Bam Bigelow. Got an in-ring, an initial rating of poor. The Perfect and Luger lost some heat. The Beefcake, Boss Man, Honky Tonk Man storyline advanced. Mr. Perfect was off his game. The commentary lifted the match. Jimmy Hart did good work at ringside, and the match got the crowd hotter. So let's head in to our next promo from Andre, which in a good 6-minute pre-taped interview that took place backstage, we saw Andre working the crowd and our now backstage interviewer, Mean Gene Okerlund. So Gene Okerlund debuted his staff member gimmick and it got an initial rating of very good. The color commentary lifted the segment, and Andre is getting better at his gimmick, so the crowd at the end is very hot, and the segment got a 78. Big John Studd, you walk around this place calling yourself a giant, trying to take up space that doesn't belong to you, but let me tell you something. There is only one true giant in the WWFC, and that giant is me. You think you can stand in my ring in my territory and make people forget who the real giant is? I have fought, I have bled, and I have broken men bigger and badder than you, Stud. And I'm going to show the world why you're just a shadow in my presence. Tonight, I'm going to put you down, Stud. I'm going to make it clear for everyone that you don't belong here. When I'm done with you, you'll be packing your bags and walking out of the WWFC for good. Because this ring belongs to Andre the Giant. So that's a really good promo. I also signed Mean Gene to do our backstage interviews because I really didn't have anybody. So we are now going to see Mean Gene in the back doing all the promos with everybody. So let's head into our next match, which is Andre and Rugged Ronnie Garvin taking on Big John Studd and Butch Reed. In a decent match, Andre and Rugged Ronnie Garvin defeated Big John Studd and the Natural Butch Reed in 13:05 when Andre the Giant pinned Big John Studd with a butt drop. Rugged Ronnie Garvin was the weak link, struggling to keep up with everybody else's in-ring performances. The crowd at the end is very hot. The wrestling rating got a 59. The crowd rating got a 61, and the segment is a 65. Rugged Ronnie Garvin had a 43. Andre had a 63. The Natural Butch Reed had a 55. Big John Studd had a 58. It also advanced our Butch Reed and Ronnie Garvin storyline, Andre and Big John Studd's storyline. Andre and Rugged Ronnie Garvin don't work well as a team, and their timing is all over the place. So it turns out Andre might not have any chemistry with anybody in the company. The color commentary lifted the match. Teddy Long did good work at ringside. The Natural Butch Reed and Colonel Robert Parker are good pairing and play off each other. And Andre is getting better at his gimmick. So let's head in to our next promo, which got a 100 rating. Oh, that is fantastic. In an excellent 6-minute angle, we saw Jake the Snake Roberts and the Macho King Randy Savage cut promos. The crowd is very hot. It advanced the Macho King and Jake Roberts. Jake clearly enjoyed the freedom to go off script, and so did the Macho Man. And one of the angle ideas I did was a success. Savage, you and I both know that things between us is far from over. WrestleMania is coming, and I'm going to be headlining it after I beat you. But before that, I want a little fun, Randy. A little venom in our game. Next week, let's up the stakes. Let's go head to head in a pick your poison match. You pick someone to face me, and I pick someone to face you. Let's see who's ready to sink or swim. Oh yeah, I like that, Roberts. I like that a lot. Be careful what you wish for. I'm not just any opponent. I'm the Macho King. I don't just survive, I dominate. And next week, the man I choose for you is going to make sure that you know what pain feels like. Dig it. Bring your best, Savage. I want it all. I want your best man, your toughest guys, because it doesn't matter. The snake will strike. And when it's your turn, I'm sending someone after you who knows exactly how to put a king in his place. You better watch yourself, Jake. You don't mess with royalty and come out alive. Next week, when you get into that ring, you're going to realize just who you're dealing with. Oh, yeah. Then it's settled. Pick your poison, Savage. Next week, the game begins. So that's, I think, the best segment we've ever had. So it's really good. I mean, the dirt sheets, everything is just positive. So let's head into our next match, which is a tag team match between the Midnight Express and the Legion of Doom. In a decent match, the Road Warriors defeated the Midnight Express in 1630 when Road Warrior Hawk pinned Bobby Eaton with the Doomsday device. Stan Lane was the weak link, struggling to keep up with everybody else's in-ring performance. Oh, definitely. The crowd heat at the end is very hot. The wrestling rating got a 68, the crowd rating got a 59, and the segment was a 79. Stan Lane had an in-ring performance of 47. Bobby Eaton had an in-ring performance of 67. Road Warrior Hawk and Animal both had 80s. It advanced our New Horseman storyline, the Killer Bees versus the Midnight Express storyline. And the creative finish that I did was a success. So Bobby Eaton and Stan Lane showed excellent chemistry teaming together. The Road Warriors showed excellent chemistry teaming together. They also got a tag team specialist bonus. The commentary lifted the quality of the match. Jim Cornette did good work at ringside. Stan Lane and Bobby Eaton both have great chemistry with Jim Cornette. Paul Ellering did some good work at ringside, and Road Warrior Animal and Paul Ellering have great chemistry. So let's head off to our next promo from the New Horsemen. In a good 8-minute interview that took place backstage, we saw Bobby Heenan and Gene Okerlund both cutting promos. Additionally, we saw Arn, Barry, Sid, and Tully in the background. The crowd is very hot. It advanced our New Horseman storyline, and the color commentary lifted the segment. Well, look who's been running their mouths about standing up to the Horsemen. LOD and Duggan. You three are nothing but a pack of loudmouth fools if you think you're ready to face this. You three have been coming at us week after week, thinking you can take us down, but you're playing a dangerous game when you try to come up against the Horsemen. This isn't some backyard brawl we're talking about. We're talking about war games. Blood, sweat, and everything that makes a man break. LOD and Duggan at WrestleMania, you better find yourself a partner if you want even a sliver of hope. That's right, Arn. War games isn't for the faint of heart. It's for warriors, and if you three want to prove you're more than talk, you better bring the biggest, meanest fourth man you can find. Because the Horsemen, we're not coming to WrestleMania to wrestle. We're coming to end you. We're going to leave you broken in that cage. So find your best and bring them. Because at WrestleMania, War Games will end. Will be the end of the road for the Legion of Doom and that loudmouth Jim Duggan. Pain is what I live for, what I thrive on. And when the cage locks, I'm going to make sure every last one of you feels what the Horsemen are all about. Duggan and LOD, I hope you're ready to bleed. LOD and Duggan, bring your partner if you can find someone foolish enough to join you. But it won't matter at WrestleMania. You're all stepping into our cage, into War Games, and trust me, boys, you're stepping into your own destruction. So, not a half bad promo. I actually think it's one of the best promos that the New Horsemen have done. So, let's head off to our next match, which is Arn Anderson taking on Hacksaw Jim Duggan. In a bout that had good wrestling and decent reaction from the crowd, Arn Anderson defeated Hacksaw Jim Duggan in 13:04 by pinfall with the Spinebuster. The crowd is very hot. The wrestling rating was a 74. The crowd rating was a 64. The segment got an 84. Arn had an in-ring performance of 80. Hacksaw Jim Duggan had an in-ring performance of 68. It advanced our New Horseman storyline, and Jesse and Vince have pretty good chemistry when calling matches together. So let's see if there's any negatives here. They were just penalized for holding back, so that's not too bad. I didn't expect that good of a match from them, actually, at all. So, let's head off to our next promo from the King Harley Race. Okay. So I'm trying to turn Harley Race. I don't understand why it says that he had a recent turn. He's been a heel the whole time he's been here. Okay. For years I've been a king. A man who ruled with an iron fist and never looked back. But lately, I've been doing some thinking about the battles, about what I fought for, and somewhere along the line I lost my way. I got wrapped up in the power and in arrogance, but that's over now. I'm here tonight to tell all of you that I'm a new man. I'm setting things right, starting with ravishing Rick Rude. You're all about ego, about pushing people around, treating this sport like it's your personal playground. Well, let's see how tough you really are face to face, man to man. Rude, at WrestleMania, I'm calling you out. Step into the ring with a real fighter, with a man who's dedicated to restoring honor to this business, and I promise you, when that bell rings, I'm not leaving anything behind. You want to talk about ravishing? Well, at WrestleMania, you're going to be on the receiving end of a whole new kind of beatdown. WrestleMania, Rude. You and me. Let's see if you're as tough as you think you are. Because when I'm done with you, the WWFC will know the name Harley Race means respect once again. So it was a good 5-minute interview that took place backstage. We saw Harley Race cut a promo. The crowd is very hot. This segment got an 80. It advanced the Rick Rude Harley Race storyline, and the commentary lifted the segment. So let's head into a 8-man tag team match. In a decent match, the Fabulous Rougeaus and Money Inc. defeated Strike Force and the Fabulous Freebirds in 12 minutes and 48 seconds when Raymond Rougeau pinned Terry Gordy with the mule kick. In terms of ring work, Ted DiBiase was head and shoulders above everybody else. Michael Hayes was the weak link, struggling to keep up with everybody else. The crowd is very hot. The wrestling rating got a 58, the crowd rating got a 52, and the segment got a 72. So Terry Gordy had an in-ring performance of 63. Michael Hayes had a 39. Tito Santana had a 52. Rick Martel had a 62. IRS had a 61. Ted DiBiase had a 73. Raymond Rougeau had a 51. And Jacques Rougeau had a 63. So it advanced our Fabulous Rougeaus and the Strike Force storyline. Tito seemed off his game. Jesse and Vince had pretty good chemistry when calling matches together. The color commentary lifted the quality, the color commentary lifted it, and Ted DiBiase benefited from having a new move. So let's head into our last promo, which is just a promo from Mr. Perfect, which got a 91 in a great 8-minute interview that took place backstage. There was an interview with Mr. Perfect where Gene Okerlund was the interviewer. The crowd is very hot. It advanced the Mr. Perfect Lex Luger storyline. Mr. Perfect clearly enjoyed having the freedom to go off script and performed well. And Mr. Perfect benefited from having a hot catchphrase. Lex Luger, the so-called total package. You think you can walk into WrestleMania, get in this ring with me, and take my Intercontinental Championship? Well, Luger, you just signed yourself up for a world of pain, and believe me, you're not ready for what's coming. You might have all those muscles, Lex, but muscles don't win championships. Skill does. Precision does. And there's no one, and I mean no one, who's as perfect as me in this ring. You're stepping into the ring with perfection itself, and that's a level you'll never understand. Luger at WrestleMania, you're not just going up against any champion. You're facing Mr. Perfect, and I guarantee when it's all said and done, when the final bell rings, you'll be laying flat on your back looking up at the lights, wondering what hit you. And I'll be right there, still holding my Intercontinental Championship, because this belt, it stays with perfection. So bring your best, Luger, but remember, you're stepping into my world, and in my world, there's only one outcome. Absolute perfection. So that's a really great promo to hype up, well, get into our final match, which is the tag team match between Orndorff and Savage and Jake and Hogan. So let's head into that. Yes. And about that had great heat and decent wrestling. The Macho King, Randy Savage, and Paul Orndorff defeated Hulk Hogan and Jake Roberts in 23-20 when Paul Orndorff pinned Jake with a pile driver. The crowd heat at the end is very hot. The wrestling rating was a 67. The crowd rating was an 81. And the segment got an 84. Jake Roberts had an in-ring performance of 52 with limited involvement. Hogan had a 92. Paul Orndorff had a 58. And the Macho King had an 86. It advanced both the Macho King and Jake Roberts storyline, as well as the Orndorff and Hogan storyline. The injury that Jake Roberts worked through took a big toll. The creative finish was a success. The color commentary was lifted, and then the flow of the match was hurt because of some of the workers having limited involvement. So I did a limited involvement with Jake because he does have his injury. So it's still a pretty good match. So let's head off to the end. The overall rating was an 86. This show increased their popularity in 11 regions. We would have gained popularity in one US, but we were restricted. And the same thing with Canada, but with 2. So let's head off and finish the show. Our financial report, we made an overall profit of $854,944,000 on that episode. The popularity recap, so we gained some in the Mid-Atlantic and the Mid-South. And we jumped up to 65 in pretty much all the regions in Canada, so that's not too bad. So that is the end of this episode, so I will see everybody in the next one.